Hi there, it's David here, and welcome to Hot Tuck Tapes, a little show where I share my thoughts on RuPaul's Drag Race. Little disclaimer, I'm not a drag performer, not an expert on drag, simply a fan of the show who wants to start a conversation with you other fans out there on the interwebs. And this week, I think the conversation is going to be pretty intense. This episode was the gag of the season, if you will. This is All-Star Season 3, Episode 6, Handmaids to Kitty Girls. The eliminated queens return for the group versus group challenge. They did this last season too. Slightly different. They were in partners, but now they just go head to head in girl groups. These are auditions for RuPaul's band Kitty Girls. Hey Kitty Girl, I don't remember what the name is. But they're split into a group that's doing the song Sittin' on a Secret and a group that's doing the song Drag Up Your Life. Neither one very good. They've had better original songs, and honestly, the bar is already pretty low. Hi Leland, I see you sitting there with that fake little mixer. Looking cute. Ru brings back in the original girls, maybe the best woman, wait a minute. Morgan is strutting deadpan, like right through that door. Thorgy does a cartwheel, everyone's very in character. Once Ru leaves, the queens circle up and participate in one of the most contrived, overproduced segments in Drag Race history. This was like a half hour of them just like talking about why each queen got eliminated, why they're mad at the person who eliminated them. This has gotta be some of the most boring minutes of Drag Race I've ever seen in the entire history of the show. It was like sitting in on a bad acting class where they're trying to like unpack all of their personal drama and BS. These queens are on a tight time crunch. They've got a deadline to get this stuff together. The eliminated queens have really high stakes. They could get themselves back in the competition. And they're just standing around and talking. You have no clearer indicator that the producers were like, you are instructed to stand here and confront each other. You have no other option, because otherwise, like, why would they be wasting time with this? We know that queens can multitask, having drama while they're like half made up and they have no eyebrows. They're always doing stuff while they're yelling at each other. So this just like screamed them being told what to do. A quick rundown of the confrontations. We've got, let's see, Morgan goes after Bendela about why she was eliminated. I, for the record, was on Morgan's side, and I'm trying not to let my bias get into this. I just think that Ben was hypocritical, and honestly, that made me enjoy that decision at the end of episode 1 more, because I was like, oh, she's using Morgan's own medicine against her. I see that. And I feel like if Ben had just committed a little more to that being the obvious reason for her selecting Morgan, then there would have probably been less inner conflict on Ben's side, more respect from Morgan, and more respect from at least myself, if not more of the audience. So as much as Morgan's tone was very pointed, I did agree with her point of view overall. Thorgy confronts Shangela, the note drama is brought up again, Trixie's over it, we're all over it. But Thorgy's not. She's like, I would like to have this conversation, thank you very much, in typical Thorgy fashion. Milk obviously is gonna ask Kennedy how could you possibly send me home? I'm so revolutionary, I'm so attractive, and I'm just groundbreaking. And Kennedy's like, I'll give you all the reasons. She got her all the way together. You were bad in the challenge, you came right for me on a personal level, you hurt my feelings, and you are delusional about how good you are and how much better you are than the rest of us. And those are the reasons I sent you home. Then they've got some very cropped in shots of Milk crying. I don't know if anybody else noticed that, but the quality was like super low. You could tell that they punched in. I don't know what they were hiding on the edge of that crop, but whatever the case, they were definitely pulling some riggery, some secrecy, some very obviously manipulative editing. Maybe Milk was like crying about something completely unrelated, but whatever the case is, they were hiding something out of frame. Anybody caught that too? I don't know. And then lastly, we have Aja confronting BB about the fact that she didn't get credit for sewing BB's outfit, which she won the challenge for last week. This is a fresh wound, and I think that Aja was definitely right to ask about it. And I like that she clarified, like, I don't care that you sent me home. That's not even an issue. It's the fact that you didn't give me credit when Shangela was over there giving Trixie her credit on the runway and didn't seem to suffer for it. This was not one of BB's finer moments, especially the fact that in the workroom clips, she's not even looking Aja in the eye. She's just like looking straight ahead and, you know, whatever. Maybe she's uncomfortable with her choice not to give Aja credit and maybe like regrets it in retrospect. That's me really reading between the lines. But from what was said, BB was just like, they complimented my outfit, I said thank you. It wouldn't have affected you staying here, going home. They thought what they thought of you in the challenge. I don't really think that was the point to Aja. Again, she said, this wasn't about my elimination. This is just about, you know, the moral, the principle behind giving somebody credit where credit's due. In the long run, it doesn't matter, but honestly, it affects BB the most because she just comes off looking not very... That said, I do think that BB is getting a lot of unnecessary hate on social media, especially since last week. Like, say what you want to about the show, but A, she's not the one who's making all the choices that she's making on the show, and two, there's never an excuse to like say ridiculous, threatening, racist, and just generally garbage things to people you don't know online. Or people you do know, for that matter. Chi-Chi had a reaction shot during Vendela telling Morgan she was the weakest of her night. That was just perfect. That's all. A lot of the reaction shots were great. Chi-Chi, this whole episode, she doesn't even confront anybody. She's like, I'm fine that I went home. Later on, she's just like, guys, I do not need to come back. Please do not. She wanted to be home during this episode. They had to drag her back onto the show to get her to return. So Chi-Chi's the best. Did anybody catch that Shangela told Thorgy no tea? Like, but she was trying to, it was like she was saying, like, I get it, no tea, no shade. I'm being genuine, but she just said no tea, which, like, wouldn't that mean that she's lying? I mean, obviously she didn't mean it that way, but I just found it to be, like, very Freudian slip. I don't know. Also was wondering why Morgan had an earpiece, like an Agent Smith Matrix-style earpiece during the group conferences about the girl group moments. Because, like, usually when they're rehearsing with headphones, they've got, like, little earbuds or whatever, but she had a fully, like, a security, not sure if that's, like, a little bit of a slip to the production, like, she was getting fed lines through her ear or something. I don't know. Conspiracy theories. Also, Thorgy was just, like, late to the group meeting. I love that she's, like, coming in, like, sitting her bag down while they're already fully rehearsing. Now that we spent the first half hour on useless drama and, like, barely showed them talking about their characters in the groups, we get into the recording session in a very obviously fake recording studio. They always have these sets, but this time it was like especially noticeable. The microphone they were using was this like dinky little condenser mic that I think you can buy for like $100 on Amazon, and they had a mixer there that was not plugged into anything. I genuinely think that they like record their vocals somewhere else, and this is maybe like a reenactment. If that's really their audio setup, then no wonder the tracks that come out of this show are not killing the iTunes charts. Adam Lambert was a fine guest. I thought that his notes were inoffensive. He wasn't amazing, but I didn't find him to be as annoying as I think others did. That said, I like fully voted for him on American Idol. BB's recording session I was all about. I thought that she came alive in the recording booth with her gibberish. Later on, I become a little less of a fan, but we'll get there. Vendela's recording session was cringy. She's exhausted. Everybody seems exhausted. Even Shangela in her interviews during this episode, they're all so tired by this point. It was definitely a bummer to see Vendela just kind of like trucking along, taking Adam's notes, trying to focus. She really like kept at it and kept going and wasn't really succumbing to the exhaustion and the, you know, bummed mood after the confrontation with Morgan. But it was like, girl, you're running on empty. Like, I don't know what to do. I wish I could help you, but she was struggling. During Vendela's session, Shangela came so close to having a good interview quote. A lot of her talking heads moments have just been about Game of Thrones or canned one-liners, catchphrases, whatever. But she was just like, hey, if LaToya and Latavia can't get it together, then nobody's winning the Grammy. And I was like, good, obscure reference. And then she's like, in Destiny's Child. It's like, girl, stop explaining your jokes. Stop trying to make it be palatable. Like, no! Just say it and the people who get it will get it. All I wrote for Trixie's recording session was that it was a festival of shady editing. I do not believe that this was confrontational. They do this often in these challenges in the recording studio. They did it with Todrick also. Well, then you'll really be into Trixie Mattel if you're into realism. Like, that's just funny. That's self-deprecating humor. That's not her being confrontational, so whatever, they've got to do it for the narrative so that she can be snatched this win also, which she absolutely deserved. Kennedy didn't get a recording moment because fuck her drag, right? Then we get to the Flop Queens group, and we barely see any of their sessions. We see Aja, Morgan, Milk. There's really not too much to say. They buzzed through this. Kudos to Aja for releasing her single this week when she debuted her rapping talents on the show. I got you, girl. I clocked that marketing. Morgan just like got into her Valley Girl moment. Milk was being whiny and obnoxious in her verse. Meh, it's whatever. They did, I will note, build this group up to like be the group that's doing well, they're gonna win, which They didn't, and I think deservedly they didn't. I know that's a controversial opinion. Some people were like, they should have won. They were set up to fail. Their song was worse. The mirror moment, there's not much to say about. Bendela gets convinced by Shangela to make up with Morgan and then takes credit for giving Morgan the benefit of the doubt. She also says that competition is not something that she came here for, which, like, do you know what you were signing up for? Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You even knew so much that you declined to go to All-Star Season 2, so I am calling her out on that BS for All-Star Season 3. What do you come here for other than to compete? It is a drag race. That said, her making up with Morgan was still sweet. They're building that redemption arc for Morgan, and it's working on me. She's coming off way more likable on camera. Other than that, I mean, Milk said the word disingenuine, so it is what it is. Chi-Chi read her for like, just because you're a hot guy doesn't mean you're a hot queen. Once again, Chi-Chi wins this episode. That's about it. We go to the main stage. Ru's hairline has been fixed, thank God, although I do not like her party dress. We have the first group coming out, sitting on a secret, and the song was yikes, like just in terms of being a song, but these songs are always dumb. I think that these sounded especially bad though. They could have tuned them a little bit. Chi-Chi was the star of this number. Her bodysuit with the rhinestones and whatnot, and how it like seamlessly went into the gloves and the platforms. I thought she looked right. She sounded great. I wish I'd seen her recording session. I also really like Thorgy in this group, and we didn't get to see her recording session either. She was the cardio kitty, and she had this great jacket, leg warmers, the whole bit. Her verse was funny. Those two really stole the show for me. I felt like Milk's character was like, okay, you're wearing Aja's look from last week and you're doing weird elbowy knee dance moves. Also, she, once again, knows how to steal focus as a backup dancer. She was giving all kinds of face, it's like, support. Don't steal focus from who's in front. Morgan was fine. I felt like her vocal recording was the weakest, probably. I liked her outfit better before both of the tearaway reveal moments, and the pants on stage, continuity's worst nightmare. If it weren't obvious that they do this multiple times before, those pants were on stage, off stage, stage left, stage right, in the center, Aja's tripping on it, leads into Aja, you know, stumbles a messy cartwheel into her verse. That said, she recovered really quickly, and I felt like Aja did really well. I think that her rap verse was strong, some lyrics questionable, but nonetheless, she had a lot of charisma behind that audio, and her dance moves were hard. I don't know why they cut away from her death drop to a reaction, not sure what that was about, but overall, I mean, Aja did well. Do I think she deserved to win and that this group deserved to win because of her, like some are saying? No. I've felt like she's been robbed in the past, and I've fully defended it. In this situation, she executed it well, but the look was kind of like a backup look, one that you just kind of throw on before a gig, two-piece moment with like the stripes, and she had this sort of a jacket thing that she threw off within the first 30 seconds, but overall it just didn't stand out. None of these looks in this group really stood out to me, other than Chi-Chi's, which she looked like the star of the group because she was the only one not wearing pink. You can tell she was just like, I'm barely here, I'll give you a silver outfit, we're not all gonna be wearing pink, whatever. But she ended up looking the best. The other thing about Aja's look was that her makeup, for some reason, seemed more like on the side of season 9 Aja makeup than her makeup this season. I'm not sure like if she had access to all the products she did while she was in her main run or what was going on, but something about her face looked kind of off this episode. And so with a very poorly mixed final group line where you can clearly hear Milk the loudest, that group's over and we're on to the next, which is Drag Up Your Life. So first off, their song was better. They gave those girls better song, they were set up to win, it had better beat, like they were gonna be the winning group from the beginning. So the second Bendela comes out, I'm like, she's got it. This is great. She gives that like one side of her lip raised face, which she is so good at. Apparently this look was repurposed from her Julie Andrews look, which I would have never guessed. Very resourceful. They used the vocal from like the take where Lambert was saying she was too nasal, which at least the way it was edited was like one of her first takes, so Kind of sad that they kept beating a dead horse in the recording session, but the nasal vocal worked when you saw the performance. Kennedy kicks her way into the center of the stage. I wish I could walk into a room and just kick my face like that. The look was very classic. Kennedy, a little bit basic, but very performance ready. I didn't have as big of an issue with the wig as the judges did. Why were her vocals so auto-tuned? The amount of tuning on these tracks was pretty evident because a lot of it was pitchy as hell. Did they just spend all their time with Kennedy's vocal? Were they just like, hey, intern, you like using autotune, here's a project so that you're occupied. I don't know, but Kennedy's vocals could not have been that bad. I liked her little comedic run at the end of her vocal. You know what, good for you. Sorry that they tuned your vocals so heavily. Shangela was the star of all group singing moments during the choruses, once again, mixing real poor. I felt like she did really well, hit all of her marks. She knows her brand, she knows how to bring it onto the stage. Her look was put together. I, along with the judges, like the new and improved hip pads, the more body. So, you know, 10s across the board for Shangela. What else is new? Trixie blew me away. Everything about it, the look, the vocal, the dancing, everything was just like so spot on, alive, giving 150%. She was present. I felt like, you know, these past few weeks, but this especially, she's just like getting better and better and more present and delivering. I thought that this was awesome. Now, Bibi Zahara Benet. This is one too many weeks that you have won for no discernible reason. Not even the edit could save how non-winning this performance was. I'll hand it to her. Her verse, audio-wise, unique, charming. I enjoyed her session in the recording studio, whatever, but Mama didn't even lip sync to her own lyrics convincingly, and if I see one more cheetah print bodysuit, I'm sorry. That wig is more of a best friend than anybody else on RuPaul's Best Friend race. Even before her solo bit, she was not really with the rest of the group in terms of the group dancing. When they would turn, she would be like a half a count behind. And I mean, that's nitpicking, but when it got to her section, even with editing, it was underwhelming. She's like holding her hair up, trying to, you know, make something happen, and they're cutting to the judges' faces like they're so impressed, and it's just like, who do you think you're fooling? Even compared to Bibi's other performances, even compared to her performance in the lip sync immediately following this, she just wasn't giving as much fire as the verse demanded and as she's given in the past. There wasn't any of those like huge eye moments or whatever. She just seemed kind of like she was distracted, didn't know it well enough. I really want there to be a reason that they're giving her so many weird fake wins. I hope that there is some reason, because if not, then I'm just really going to be losing trust in the show and their ability to choose the right winners. So they get backstage and they're having their one-on-ones. Bendela can't possibly send anybody home. There's absolutely no way that she could send Kennedy home. We've got the eliminated queens all having to like do their elevator pitch of why they need to be there, and Chi-Chi is just like, I don't need to come back. She literally said this time, I don't want to be the Roxy Andrews of this season, which is basically what we all knew she was saying underneath it all. I love the little scoring music under hers too, because for everyone else it's so intense. And then when Chi-Chi goes, it's just like doot, 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 doot. So the top two, Bibi and Bendela, do a lip sync to Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, a house mix. And I've got to say, Bibi won this lip sync. I'm just going to put it out there. She took off the wig, which eliminated her, but without that, she would have won. She was giving a much more engaging lip sync. Bendela, I'm gonna clock her, messed up and didn't know the lyrics. Her mouth was not saying the right words when the song says, oh, my heart got broken, it hurts so bad. She is, I mean, there's definitely a part where Bibi also messes up, but for Bendela to mess up lyrics, she's got to be, you know, not fully present. I think that Bibi knew what Bendela was up to, and her removal of the wig was her throwing this lip sync. I'm not saying that to like, you know, defend her or anything. I'm just saying like Bibi was clearly winning that lip sync before and after the wig removal. Even when she removed the wig, she looked pretty fishy, I'm just gonna say. That's one of the few rules of lip syncing, along with you've gotta just mouth the friggin' words, remove the mask, etc. I mean, honestly, I thought that Bibi killed this. She's done better in the lip sync for your legacy moments than her performance on any of the other challenges that she's like somehow won for. In fact, I have a suspicion that in her contract to do the show, she was like, I'll accept a little bit less pay if I can have a minimum number of lip sync for your legacy moments where the camera's on me a lot of the time. So maybe that's the reason she's been winning so many challenges weirdly. I don't know. I especially love the part where she like claps her hands and points at the ground. Like she had a lot of good old school drag moments in this lip sync. So for what it's worth, I thought that BB's lip sync was entertaining. And Bendela's was just like a very one note. It was very pleading, and you know, it wasn't bad. It had energy behind it, but it just wasn't as specific as we've seen from her in the past. So I'm glad that BB took off the wig. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad that Bendela got her moment to do what she's about to do, which was gag RuPaul for her life. Seeing RuPaul's face, she was mad. We don't often get to see Ru, you know, pushed off of her comfort zone, but Bendela pulled out the lipstick, said, "I'm going home," and the whiteout lives. Ru got the okay from Alexis Michelle in her in-ear that we were going to move forward with this plotline, and it was good TV. I fully believe that this was not planned. So good job, Drag Race, for actually having a genuine, shocking moment that was not prescribed. It'll be interesting to see if RuPaul's attitude changes in the next couple episodes. I feel like after this, she's just like over All Stars 3. We're all at this point over All Stars 3. I mean, this was a good shock moment, but like given the unbalance of this episode with all the drama at the beginning, it's like, bring on season 10, I'm ready. Bendela's choice to eliminate herself, I don't think was entirely selfless. I'm gonna put my opinions out there, please do not eat me alive, but like, there was a lot that she was getting out of by leaving. Now she won't have to be part of the top 5 contract, which has a little bit more restraints than being a normal contestant. She gets to leave still being a fan favorite without having eliminated any of the other queens in the top 5. She brought back Morgan, which was a good choice. I think that was a great choice, but it's all just, it's very, you know, diplomatic. I don't think that she's the unofficial winner of the season. I've been seeing that kind of floating around. She just decided not to continue. I don't think that this was like beating RuPaul at her own game or like sticking it to the man or anything. I think that Bendela just didn't want to have to deal with the drama anymore or the competition. And to that I say, like, you knew what you signed up for. I mean, I respect the choice. I don't think that it was disrespectful, but I definitely don't have like pity for her or any of that kind of thing. Like, you came here, you signed up for it, you benefited a lot from it. If you left feeling like a winner, great, but you're not actually a winner. That said, she did a really good job, and she definitely had the most talked about moment on this season. So good for you, Bendela, and good for you walking out looking real gorgeous, because she also chose the right look for this moment. I'm personally really excited to see a little bit more of Morgan. That said, she'll probably be the one to like get booted next episode, if not Kennedy. The other queens probably just won't think that she deserves to be there because she didn't have to go through all those challenges. So I feel like that would be a good excuse to send someone home. It's probably going to be a double elimination next week, because if season 10 starts March 22nd, that means we only have 2 more weeks. And they're not going to go from like 4 to the winner. They'll go from 3. So predicting a double elimination next week, just going to put that out there right now. But let me know what you guys think. If you agreed with anything I said, if you strongly disagreed with anything I said, I know the Bendela fans are probably going to come for me, as they do most of the time. But this was definitely an entertaining week for Drag Race on the drama side. Challenge-wise, meh. Also, I wanted to save this till the end just in case there were new viewers, didn't want to confuse them, but I know some of you are probably missing Foster this week, and she'll be back, don't worry. I just wanted to like get this through, get it turned around really quickly so I could get back on schedule, and also our scheduling kind of like got mixed up this week. So he'll be back, don't worry, nothing happened to Foster. Make sure you leave your comment, let me know who you're rooting for the crown. It's getting very close. And other than that, I thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. All right, bye.